For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dominic Sicali. I'm originally from the Bronx, New York, Pelham Bay section. As a child, I grew up around the Genovese crime family, so technically I was Genovese. Throughout the years, I switched over to the Bonanno crime family. I was released to them for the Genovese to have a strategic alliance. They knew I would climb in the ranks of organized crime, which I did. I was an acting captain, went to an official captain, and then at the end of my tenure, I was second in command to the boss. Today we're going to talk about Sal Vitale, a man who was the underboss of the Bonanno crime family for many, many years. And at one time, he was the acting boss of the Bonanno crime family when the official boss, Joe Massino, was jailed and imprisoned for a lengthy time. Sal Vitale came out later on that he was a correction officer at one time. Afterwards, when he cooperated and everybody found out he was a correction officer, everybody started throwing stones saying, how could they make a guy, when I say make, induct him into a crime family as a made member, and yet he was a cop? And my response to these people were, in that life, for those of you who don't know, when you're proposed to become a made member, your name gets put on a list. And that list gets circulated amongst the 5 crime families in New York, which are the Bonannos, Genovese crime family, Colombo crime family, Lucchese crime family, and Gambino crime family. And that list gets circulated amongst all the members throughout all the 5 boroughs. And my response to them, actually, was Sammy the Bull Gravano, who was an underboss in the Gambino crime family. I mentioned to Sammy, doesn't a list go around and everybody is aware who's being proposed, who's going to be a made guy? So you mean to tell me Sal Vitale worked as a correction officer in the New York jail system and nobody was aware of it in the 5 boroughs? Come on. So just people overlooked it, Sammy. Now people want to throw digs. We should have never, the Bonanno crime family should have never made a cop. That life is very contradictory. But going back into Sal Vitale, I never had the opportunity to meet him. But things I heard about him were just, he was self-centered. His nickname was Good Looking Sal, which he gave himself that nickname. And he was actually Joe Massino's brother-in-law. And Joe Massino was the boss of the Bonanno crime family. He was the main factor in the Bonanno crime family who took the Bonanno crime family from the movie Donnie Brasco. Those of you who saw that movie, or if you didn't see that movie, there was a big power move where he had 3 captains killed at one time. And he made his move to become the boss of that family. Donnie Brasco, in that movie, Joe Pistone was infiltrated. Once everything came out, all the arrests went down because of Donnie Brasco. The Bonanno crime family was actually kicked off the commission itself. Later on throughout the years, Joe Massino took the Bonanno crime family out of the bottom, out of the gutter basically, and elevated that crime family to basically the most superior crime family. In early 2000s, there was never a made member in the Bonanno crime family that cooperated or ratted with law enforcement. No other crime family could say that. Even the Genovese, who are now the elite crime family. So back to Sal Vitale. What I heard about him, he was very into himself, very gavonish, meaning he would belch in front of people at a table loud, like gas, a fart. To me, that's disgusting. You know, if you have to do things like that, you go private, go to the bathroom. Or if something slips, you say, excuse me. Nobody liked him. He thought too much about himself. There was times that Vinny Basciano, a.k.a. Vinny Gorgeous, would tell me, he was out with Sal on a few occasions, gambling. Vinny was a big, big gambler. He was up there with John Gotti, gambling-wise. But he was out with Sal on a few occasions. But Vinny did respect the badge he wore, the title. Just like in the military, you respect the chain of command and the position of the person. So Vinny did respect Sal Vitale's position, the chain of command, but Vinny did not respect Sal Vitale. He felt Sal Vitale was soft, Sal Vitale was too much into himself, and Sal Vitale would cooperate, and Vinny was 1000% correct. The only time I was going to meet Sal Vitale was the night I was going to kill him. Yes, I was going to kill Sal Vitale. What had happened was towards the end of Joe Messina's tenure before he got arrested, he felt that Sal Vitale was a weak link, that Sal would give him up. So Joe Messina had a conversation with Vinny Basciano, who's known as Vinny Gorgeous, powerful capo at the time in the Bonanno crime family. The contract was given to me to kill Sal Vitale. I told Vinny, I'll take it, I'll handle it. So they told me, wait 2 weeks. At the end of the second week, that's when you're going to make your move. I said, all right. And I started doing my due diligence and my groundwork, putting the team together. After the first week, Vinny called me, came to my house. He didn't even call me. He came to my house about 2 o'clock in the morning. Came outside. We would never talk on cell phones. It would always be one-on-one, wee hours of the morning. And he told me, he says, that thing you're supposed to do with Sal, it's off the table. I said, what do you mean it's off the table? He said, Joe Messina cannot do that to his sister. Joe Messina was married to Sal Vitale's sister, Josephine. As luck would have it, being that the case, when Sal Vitale got arrested, he fingered his brother-in-law, Joe Messina, on all the crimes. And then they wound up arresting Joe Messina because Sal Vitale was one of the cooperators back in the early 2000s. So, folks, in the life of the Mafia, as they say, when you're inducted into the life, when they have the induction ceremony, they state, this is now your family. This family comes first, above and beyond your maternal family. We are now your brothers. We stick together. And this life surpasses everything else. If somebody has to be taken out, you take them out for the benefit of the family. So that shows how hypocritical it is, because Joe Messina knew Sal Vitale had to go. Knew Sal Vitale would be a rat. Knew Sal Vitale, if he ratted, not only Joe Messina, but many others he would take down. But Joe Messina went against his own policy, went against the Mafia's policy, and allowed Sal to live because of his maternal family, which is a no-no, and that's the downfall of today's Mafia.